Hello, how is everybody doing?
Welcome to episode 37 of the Degenerates podcast.
Wow.
Do you remember when we were doing episode 1?
Do I remember when we were doing episode 1? What did we talk about in episode 1? I forget. I don't even know.
I remember I called it entering the echo chamber.
Oh yeah, because we just started. We just like agreed with each other over and over.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked about a bunch of stuff though. I think, and it was like a 2-hour. I edited a bunch of stuff out. I remember. That's one of the most edited ones because there were so many mistakes, and my microphone came out in the middle of the podcast like 3 times. So
yeah, but now there's
a bunch of stuff that we talked about that got edited out of that one, but.
Yeah, but as we've progressed, we've gotten a little bit better. You know, not as many technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's pretty good.
So
yeah,
what did you
so far.
What'd you want to talk about?
I want to talk about my psychosis because it was fucking super weird and it had a story and it was like, what the fuck? I didn't know psychosis could have a story. And it's a story of my life, pretty much.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Why do you want to talk about psychosis?
Because that was the method which allowed me to realize the error of my ways.
So you're saying you went into a psychosis?
I'm saying I went into a psychosis. And in this psychosis... Alright. I was searching for something. I have a few heroes. A few heroes of mine.
Maybe we should give a little more backstory for people who don't know what happened, who are listening.
Right. So, a bunch of things started coming to a head in my life. So, there was a research project I was working on. That was very big for me. There is a... What is it? I was learning from blue collar how to think like blue collar. I was doing all this cool stuff. You know, I was like, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn all of this cool stuff. I was reading Jung for a few months, really, and then, and so I guess a lot of these things just sort of like jumped out at me, and I was like, I realized what I was doing, and I was like, I'm completely overwhelmed with shit that I don't need. And so the delusions basically started a week ago, like at around like the 14th or something like that. Not really, but like a little bit later.
No.
A little bit later.
No. They started 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah. 2 weeks ago on the 14th. Yeah, that makes sense. 14th, 15th, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
But that's 2 weeks ago.
Jesus. But yeah, so essentially I started meditating in class. And so...
No.
What?
It would have been around the 8th or the 9th.
Sorry, that's when it started
not the 14th. Well, that's when you had the phone call with Blue Collar.
Right, but something changed. Something changed throughout the course of this. So I learned a little bit about...
And it was the 11th? Tuesday the 11th was when you called me on the stream and you were already talking pretty weird.
See, during that time when I called you, I thought I was talking about something else.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it was. So Carl Jung has this saying. He says, the introverted intuitive does not talk about his experience unless he is a fool. And so when I talked about my experience, that's how it came out. It came out in the problem I was having, not in the things I thought I was saying. You know?
Well, all you were really talking about was how you needed to start paying attention to the story in Umineko in order to figure it out.
Oh. Okay.
And that's what you talked about for like an hour.
Oh. Cool. But, yeah. So there was a bunch of things came to a head. I'm having a little bit of trouble remembering. Oh, right. It started with numbers. Numbers. I started forgetting numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Started forgetting all these, like my own debit card. I forgot like how much money I had in my account. I usually always remember this shit. Like it's always automatic. Like I just know all the time, and it's like I can call upon it whenever I wanted. But then I couldn't, and that was very stressful for me because it's not that I identify with numbers, it's that numbers are very important to me. I like symbols. I like all that. I like, things that can represent information. I like stuff like that. And, what else? Forgot numbers. Yeah. So once I started, I also started feeling emotions. That's one thing that
you said you had never felt emotions before.
Well, it's not that that was kind of stupid of me to say. It's not that I never felt emotions. It's that I like kind of repressed and like blocked all of my emotions for like the longest time. The longest time I was just like, don't let my emotions come out.
And then you just let them go.
Then I just let them go. Then I was like, okay, I have all this problem. And that's how it kind of started to come out, is with because my brain's like really tuned towards the logical explanations of things. So I was correlating my mental state with my behavior, and then that got into really stupid shit. Really, really stupid shit. Because like I thought that because a delusion that I had was like when I fart, that's when something's true. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah.
This is fucking stupid.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know it doesn't make any sense. That's why it was a delusion.
What is psychosis for people who don't know?
Ooh, I don't even know the definition. There's a few. It's basically like a mental break. Let me look up. Basically, a mental break, abnormal condition of the mind that results in difficulties determining what is real and what is not. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Symptoms may include false beliefs and seeing or hearing things that others do not see or hear. Hallucinations, yeah. I had both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a delusion I had on the way over to the hospital was that it was Alejandro and the Laotian guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, they were like passing a joint back and forth. But like that's not. I could smell the joint. I could really perceive.
Yeah, but
like,
they
what
weren't.
Yeah, they weren't. I know. That's what the fucking scares me. It's
that's pretty good that you're not saying people's names now, because before you were just saying everyone's names.
Really? Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can kind of like keep it secret.
Yeah.
Now it's like I can keep secrets.
Well, I don't think that you could remember that you were on the podcast, because I had to keep telling you that it was a dream, that it wasn't a dream, because you were wondering.
What wasn't a dream? The podcast?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah. And so there's Mm-hmm. And so also I got a lot of like delusions. Like people would call me and they would tell me either what I needed to know. There were voices who told me what I needed to know. And there were also voices who tried to drag me down. Does that make sense? There was voices that told me like be aggressive, be an animal, take what you can while you can. And then there was another voice that said like get help from other people. Like you're not good right now. Get help. And so I listened to the good voice.
That's good.
A lot
of people don't listen to the good voice, and then it gets very bad.
Yeah, because, they're scared, obviously. And so, like, also in the hospital, in the psych ward, I, didn't stop fighting. Like, I didn't stop fighting these delusions. Like, I had to figure it out. Like, what the fuck is going on with my brain? And then, I just listened to them. I got I got a good night's sleep. I went on some medication, and yeah, that's how I got better.
You didn't sleep for like 6 days straight or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, right. It all started with tactile hallucinations. I remember. Yeah, I got tactile hallucinations.
I was wondering if did it start with meditation?
You know what I think happened?
What?
So Dr. K, right? This guy who does Ayurveda.
Mm-hmm.
So he showed a technique where you put your middle finger to like the spot between your forehead and you keep it there for a little while. And then you like, you know, you try and feel that spot and you try to move around the sensations. Like with pure willpower, you move around the sensations on your body. And like I could do that like on the natch. Like it was pretty easy for me to do. Like I would just like put pressure to my forehead if I want to. Like, and then once I did this little meditation exercise, I started laughing. I was super happy. It was like the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. It was like I reawakened the child in me. It was pure, super happiness. And so because this was very, very, very fun, I guess, I started doing it in class. And that's not a good idea. Don't meditate in class. Because you might be able to take in information better, but the way you take in information is not normal. Because like I saw all of my notes during this time, and it was just completely like insane babble. It's like nothing. It's like completely gone. Carl Jung had a... Sorry, do you have anything to say?
I did, but I forgot.
All right. Well, if you remember, let me know. Stop me whenever you have anything. Stop me whenever you have anything to add. Whenever you think about something, just tell me.
Okay.
And so, I started writing in this book. Right, a book that I got, and in the book I wrote down all of my thoughts, and it wasn't like I was writing them down.
Is that the book that you showed me?
Yes, it is. It is the leather-bound book that I showed you. And it's filled with...
Yeah, it was really long.
It's very long. I didn't even know how much I wrote. And
you just said, read this, and then you were like, oh, it scared me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but the thing about fear is that what I learned during my psychosis was confront what you're afraid of, and then you won't be afraid of it anymore. And so I confronted... What I was scared of was... what is it called? I was scared of the shapeshifter. Like the shapeshifter archetype. Because I thought that I was the shapeshifter archetype.
Mm-hmm.
Who, like, you know, he's a trickster, he hates people, he's fucking, like, he's like...
Because Blue Collar said he was scared of that.
Yeah, Blue Collar said he was scared of that. And I got scared of it too, because I thought that's what I was. But that's fucking stupid, because that's just the negative side of the archetype. There's a positive side, and the positive side is the child. Is the hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to tell you guys my hero's journey, because that's what happened to me. So I was searching for something. I was searching for my lost childhood, because I understand psychoanalysis. I understand that, you know, stuff like this happens because you have, you know, shit in your past that you haven't dealt with. And so the past that I haven't dealt with was reconciling the quote unquote death of my parents, because they didn't actually die, but they suffered a symbolic death because I never used to talk to them or anything. It's like I just completely neglected their needs as parents. But after this experience, I noticed that, you know, they have things that they want to teach me. And I want to learn these things so that I can be a functioning adult. And I fell asleep. Once I was done searching for shit in, like, my house, like, I broke down the door and everything. Like, it was fucking, like, I was motivated to get to what the fuck is going on. Once I broke down the door, and I searched around a little bit, I saw myself in cats, and the cats were trying to, like, show me things. But, like, that was another delusion. And so, then I fell asleep in my dad's bed, and then that's when the real.
And that's when we came.
That's when you came. That's when you came, and that's when the delusion. That's when the delusions and no, that's when the hallucinations hit a all-time high. That's when the hallucinations were very high, and the delusions, because I thought everything was about me, but like it's not.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I was always like, so. How did you break down the door? Was it just?
I just fucking pushed.
Was
through
it your arm? Did you just use your arm?
It was my shoulder. I would just fucking fuck this shit. Because I wanted it. And if I want something, I'm gonna fucking push through to get it.
Yeah, we could have, if you, waited till the next day, your brother remembered, what the code actually was.
No, it's not the code. That's not what was locking the door. What locked the door was, or maybe it was. I fucking forget.
Yeah, no, there was only one lock on the door when I looked. There was only one lock.
Okay, then I guess that was another assumption that I made.
So it would have had to be... It would have had to have been the keypad. Your brother just got the code wrong when he told you the night before.
Right.
And then he remembered it in the morning.
Right, okay. Mm-hmm. It feels really good to talk about my experience, by the way, because it's like I'm finally figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And so, after I was taken to the hospital, I thought everything was about me, right? I thought that, this entire experience, that they were putting on a show to help me get better and all this, but they weren't. So I started talking to everyone. I talked to everyone and was like, what do you represent? Like, what is the aspect of my mind that you represent that will get me out of this? And then I just kept bothering people. That's all it was. I just kept bothering people, and like they're like, "Go away, you're fucking insane." It's like, yeah.
Wait, who are you bothering?
All the patients, and I was bothering the patients and the security guard and the nurses. I was bothering literally everyone.
Wait, so you were walking around?
Yeah, I was walking around bothering people.
I also about your experience that you were having.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, not about my experience. I was like, I'm going to learn from you. Like, that's what it was. And so I want them to tell me something.
Oh.
And so, finally, what happened was I went... Like, I thought it was... Okay, here's the delusion I was having. I thought I died. I thought I was dead. And now I'm in the land of the dead. Because the death... Like, the people who are dying is, like, right next to the psych place. Right next to the place where you, like, are held for a while.
Like the morgue?
No, not the morgue. Like, the old people who are dying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I would go up to these old people because I was having a delusion. I was like, what can you tell me that will make it better? Pretty much. And so the security guards were like, you can't bother other people. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. I can't bother other people. But then the old guy that I came up to, and he helped me. He literally helped me. Like, because whenever I didn't know what to do, because I wanted to help people. Yeah, I wanted to just help other people and help them.
Yeah, that's what you kept going on about.
Yeah, I want, like, a fucking...
And that's why I kept telling you can't help others until you help yourself. Mm-hmm. Because I could kind of tell that you weren't in a good state to help anybody... When you're in psychosis.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's I did it backwards pretty much. Mm-hmm. Like, I had all these things that I wanted to do, and I was like, I want to do them, like, right now. But I was like, then I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, well, you gotta practice.
Exactly, yeah. But, also, then the old guy came out. And whenever I didn't know what to do, when I was trying to help other people... If I didn't know what to do, I would look to him, and he would either nod, or he would shake his head if I was doing something that would be harmful. Because there was this guy, and he like would take off his shirt, and he would like have his shirt like over his body and all this stuff. Like he would it would be like on his arms, like. And I tried to put his shirt back on for him, but he didn't want it to be put back on. So I looked to the old guy, and he was like, "No, don't do it. Don't help him." And I was like, shit, fuck, damn. But then I realized you can help people in different ways. So the way I started trying to help other people was by putting on movies and showing them, and then putting on a happy face. Because, like, they couldn't tell the difference between a fake smile and a real smile, so I would just fake smile, and then they thought it was a real smile. The other patients there. And so basically I just, like, helped them. I tried to help them in the way that I can. Which was, movies. Because movies basically helped bring me out of it.
So they had... Yeah. What kind of movie setup did they have?
Oh, just like a bunch of Disney movies, Breakfast Club.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All these Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah, these are all really, really good stories. Like, that's the main thing, is what helps pay, I think...
Did they have a flat screen, or did they have one of those old...
No, it was a super old TV.
Yeah,
there was all VHS tapes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, then when I first got in, I was like, how do you work the VHS player? And then this little girl, she knew how to do it, and so she helped me, and then she left.
She left?
I don't know if she was a delusion or not. Because I feel like she was kind of like the child archetype, and so basically, in order to actually, like, learn something, you have to identify as a child. Like, if you really want to know. Because the children go through a bunch of hard lessons in life. Like, a lot.
Well, so do adults.
So do adults, but children have, like, they're very adaptable, So, like, they're very adaptable in both good and bad ways.
Mm-hmm.
So they just, like, they can be molded by their environment very easily. But yeah, so essentially I was in the land of the dead. I thought I couldn't eat the food because then I would be stuck there. So I didn't eat the food for a long time. Also, I think that most of, like, what the delusion was like just a bunch of, like, I saw myself in other people and I was like, oh, these other people know how to deal with stuff. But then, that's not true, because, you only know how to deal with your own problems. You can get help from other people who have had similar experiences, but ultimately it's up to you to figure shit out on your own. And I think that's a positive message.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you learned?
That's one little bit of what I learned. Because I learned so much. I think what it was like, what helped me get out of it was the hero's journey. Like that, like, you just, like, go along with a story. It's like, it's a story. It's basically a map of life. That's what the hero's journey is. Before the hero's journey, I was in, like, an Oedipal myth, basically. Like, that's what my life was. An Oedipal myth. But then after
myth? An Oedipal?
Oedipal, yeah. It's like when you have sex with your mother, but, like, it's not...
Oedipus?
Oedipus, yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not, like, actual sex with your mother. It's more like, I just fucking, like, didn't do anything and just let technology take care of me, let other people take care of me. It's like that. It's like I never grew up.
Oh.
But yeah, but now I feel like I'm grown up. Now I feel like I can do shit.
Oh yeah, you could do shit for a few years, aren't you?
Yeah, I know, but now I feel like I can do the shit I want.
203?
That's what I mean. Like, do shit that I want to do.
Oh yeah, but you could do that before.
I know, but now it's like an option on the table because I couldn't see the option before.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the way you see the world is structured by your personality and your perceptions.
Yeah.
So basically, I think that introverted intuitives are basically like the vessel for personality, if that makes sense. So, like, as they mature and go older, they incorporate these other personalities and they can use them.
And extroverts can't?
Well, no, it's just that they have to do it in a different way. Because what I did was I recognized my extroverted intuitive part. But then because I recognize this, like I got the psychosis, I think. But it was the most positive experience I think I've ever had. It's so weird because like, but yeah, like it was a good experience nonetheless.
How are your arms doing?
My arm's doing pretty good. I fell down and they're healing really fast actually.
That's good.
Yeah. Because
it wasn't good when we found you.
No. Yep. But yeah, it was really cool. Like, I had all these delusions, and the delusions were actually like, I don't even fucking know how to describe it. But anyways, that's my experience.
So would you recommend Psychosis?
Sorry?
Well, would you recommend it? What's your score out of 10?
Can you speak up? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you, but okay. What did you ask me?
I asked, on a scale from 1 to 10.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
What do you mean? What do you mean you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah. It's like you started cutting out, so ask me the question.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah.
How would you rate it? Was it an experience that you would recommend to other people?
10 out of 10. But,
10 out of 10.
But be careful. And also listen to the good voices. Listen to the pod. Because Freud got stuck. Freud got stuck in thinking that the world was a bad place. Jung, he broke through. And he was like, okay, the world's actually a good place.
Yeah, so if you go out, get a psychosis, but you think like Jung, not like Freud.
Yeah, remember to be positive. Also, don't talk about your experience because then people think you're crazy.
Yeah, and if you go out and get a psychosis, then
get help.
Then
get
have
help
a good
friends.
time. Have a good time.
Yeah,
have fun with it.
Yeah, be in nature. That's what the shaman actually has to do. The shaman leaves and is in nature.
If you haven't had a psychosis before, then we recommend doing it at least once in your life.
Maybe it has to be at the end of your life.
What? No.
No?
If it's at the end of your life, then how can you use what you've learned?
Because then that's what... No, because you incorporate the other personalities first. Because introverted intuitives, they do it... Wait, no, actually, no. So,
you should do it earlier on so that you can learn stuff and then apply it to your life. Because once you're at the end of your life, what's the point of learning?
You just gotta
if it's the last thing you do before you die, like what?
Yeah. So what we're talking about right now is called the process of individuation and also Tao. Because Tao is recognition of your opposite. And so what my opposite was extroverted intuition. Because I'm fun, yeah. So basically, when you recognize the Tao, shit happens. And shit comes to a head. But it's not like the Tao. You can't really control the Tao. The Tao does what it wants. When it wants to. It's like you're not the process of individuation. The process of individuation is going to be lived through you. And nothing else. You're the big thing is you're not special. But you can be a better person. And how I became a better person, how I'm trying to become a better person, is with the realization of the Tao and the incorporation of other personalities. And so that's my goal. That's what I'm going to do. And you guys find your own goal. Don't mooch off mine.
Yeah, no one else can do what
no one else can do
Come
what
up with your own idea.
Yeah, dummies.
Well, is there any last words before we end off this episode? This special episode spectacular? The Psychosis story episode?
Psychosis, okay. If you ever get psychosis, just read stories, look at movies, learn the hero's journey, and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what helps you get out of it. So just watch movies, finish a movie. Don't stop in the middle of a movie. Keep watching the movie.
Yeah, if you want to know how to get psychosis, you can look it up on the internet. They'll tell you how to do it.
Jesus. Fuck. All right. See you guys.
See everybody later.